Yes, this is me walking up the stairs after leg day. It was a good leg day. A good leg day that I really didn't have any right to expect. I had no right to expect how good today's leg day was. Just gonna check one more time because I do not want to cross this block if they're gonna hit me with a congestion charge. I don't think they will. So you guys see the title for episode 257. Overcoming nightmares to achieve my dreams. I really debated on whether I should do this live stream today. But I figured that I would get my state of mind out there while, protecting the privacy of others and trying to ride that thin line. So today, I woke up today and I was instantly in a pretty negative situation. I woke up from a series of bad dreams today that stemmed from the trauma that I experienced some years ago. And now I am, something triggered it. And now the nightmares are back. So, I'm trying to put this bag in the car. Today, we're driving the Beamer today. The trauma that I suffered, I kind of go back and forth on how much of it was or wasn't my fault that I suffered what I suffered. But there are people that are close to me that are going through something that is serious, that is very much, it has to be close enough to the trauma that I have because, I didn't really notice it until really examining myself psychologically. But I realized that this particular situation that's unfolding in the lives of those that are very close to me, it's been very triggering, and I didn't understand that that's what was happening. I didn't understand that the return of these nightmares that I had for about a decade that it is connected. I've been doing pretty well mentally, at least on that end. I still struggling with understanding how I am dealing or how I should deal with the death of my father in January 2024, January 26, 2024. But this is a different type of situation. But in these really bad dreams, there is a feeling of helplessness and despair that is born from the erroneous belief that there are certain things in this life that we can control. And you find out through very harsh means, by very unexpected means. And I think that that's where some of the harshness comes from, is how unexpected these life lessons are taught to you. That there are things that you cannot control. And especially when you're dealing with family and you're dealing with human beings, you kind of have to learn that we go through this life believing that we are in control of our lives, and there are certain occurrences in our lives that happen every so often that remind us that we're not really in control at all. I mean, we're not even fully in control of how we react to things, as evidenced by the rash of nightmares that I've been having. And it brings me back to some bad times. Times that I thought that I had actually gotten over. And then you see evidence that certain traumas aren't done with you until they're done with you. And you don't get to decide. It doesn't matter how much therapy you go to, or how many armchair psychologists that try to give you self-help advice. Does not matter at all. Your trauma will be done with you when it's done with you, and there's no warning when the triggering comes. It's just fighting for your fucking life in your sleep, and then waking up and swearing that whatever happened in your nightmares is true on some level, and then you go looking around to see, and and then it wasn't really real, but it felt really real. Nightmares that you wake up from. And they're just stories conjured up by your brain, right? But, your brain gets them from somewhere. And I realize that I'm still in a lot of pain from this particular kind of trauma. But, the pain faded over time. But man, it's just come roaring back in a way that I just was not prepared for. My life has been going really well lately. And there are a lot of people that I can thank for that. It's just it's a very sobering thing to have to face, especially when you thought you faced, thought that you had already gotten past it. To witness as somebody else is now living your nightmares, and the nightmares just come right back. And I had this nightmare before 3 or 4 times in the last 2 weeks, having no idea what was connected to where it's connected to. And I woke up, I woke up this morning, all my motivation was gone. Go to the gym. I was worried because my a little bit too stressed out. So I thought maybe I got to take a deload today. Maybe I'll just do like a quick thing and get out of the gym real fast and come back for it next week. I didn't eat breakfast. I mean, I was really messed up. All because my brain conjured up a story that felt really real. I've asked myself this question in the past. I'm getting a little emotional now. I've asked myself this question: which is worse? Or and over again and waking up and finding that my subconscious brain not only made up these horrible experiences, but will continue to keep regurgitating them, and I can't even break free. It's like I'm in a psychological prison in my sleep that I can't break free from because my mind thinks it's real. And I think it's really bothering me the fact that I'm actually witnessing other people in real life living through my nightmares. And it makes my nightmares feel all the more real. It's kind of fucking me up. I gotta admit. Seditionalist was asking, "What's the question?" The question being, which is worse? Super awesome things happening to you in your dreams, and you wake up and none of it happened, or super horrible things happening to you and none of it happened. It damaged me today. But I took I could barely drink an RTD and eat, part of this protein bar. I ate part of it, like maybe 55% of it, and I just couldn't fit anymore. And then I had to go, and I don't know. I took the fucking pre-workout, so I just went for it. I took this pre-workout with 300 milligrams of caffeine, and I went for it. I'll go through the autopsy on today's training to believe that I could do more. So in certain areas, I actually exceeded my expectations and hit a couple of yards today. I warmed up my did that in record time. So even though I did that part of the program last Sunday, the speed at which I was able to complete it made it a PR. It was much, much faster than last week. I went to the leg press and did 3 sets of 6 at 455. That worked like a charm, although I was afraid that my left knee was going to be a problem. It was not. I then went over to the powerlifting area and did my barbell RDLs, 10 reps with just the bar, 10 reps at 135, 10 reps at 225, before I put the bar on the ground and attempted 4 sets of 10 at 335 on the conventional deadlift. And so I wasn't supposed to try 10 reps today. I was supposed to stay at 9. But I thought I could do it. And I took my time, and it really wasn't all that difficult. So next week, the plan is I'm going to move up to 365 or 6 and see what happens there. I went to the leg extension and squeezed out 3 sets of 6 at 205, and I decided to just go up in weight on the prone leg curl and max out the machine. This machine only goes to 200 pounds, and yeah. Thank you, sir. Everybody loves this car. I just went up from 190 to 200, just maxed out the machine. I think this might be the first time I've ever maxed out any machine, any piece of machinery in a gym ever. I did 3 sets of 6 at 200 on the prone leg curl, and that's as heavy as it goes. So now I'm at this part of the journey where I'll be adding sets there, and that was pretty much it. I did not expect to be perform at even at an adequate level because of the psychological burden. Because today is not just about the nightmares, it's about what the nightmares represent in my actual reality. And again, my nightmare is not being lived by me, but somebody close to me. And so it really does fill me with a sense of dread that I would rather not feel, that I would rather not have. But there's really nothing I can do about it. And if my nightmares actually did come true in my life, again, I have to understand that I still can't. I have no control over those outcomes. And I have to find some kind of psychological strength to find a way to live. Okay. Hopefully that fixed the issue. It's really restarting the app in 2025. These situations, very Thanos-like. I just feel like I have to learn from, is there something I can learn from my nightmares? Try to devise some plan to be able to deal with the pain of sad occurrences if they should befall me. I don't know. Trauma is a really tricky thing. I mean, it's an ugly thing, but it's also part of what makes it ugly is how tricky it is. You think you got a handle on it. You think you do. You think you know what you're going to do if you should ever fall into your worst expectations. Like, what do you do? How do you plan for that? You know, I used to have dreams of my father no longer being alive, but I just could not be, when it actually happened, there was nothing, I could do to prepare myself. And I've heard people say this in the past, like there's nothing you can do to prepare yourself for when that time comes. But what else can you try to do but try to insulate yourself from a pain that is just so foreign and feels so catastrophic? Like, what do you do? Seditionalist says, if someone close to you is living your nightmare, do you talk to that person about your nightmares? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I can't go into any more detail than that. I kind of feel like the protagonist in a film that, oh, this is the expensive service paperwork that they just kind of slid down the side of the seat, the passenger seat. That's annoying. And there's some paperwork from BMW on some BS stuff. The amount they charge you for a battery is crazy. He said the battery died and needed to be replaced. I've only driven this car an estimated 8,200 miles over 3 years. And I was told that the battery degraded and needed to be replaced. And it's going to cost $1,000 to replace the battery because apparently I don't drive this vehicle enough. Even though I drive this car almost every day. But I didn't drive it for long enough distances. So the starter battery, which I don't, what's the fucking difference? I don't know. I ended up paying just shy of $700 to replace a starter battery in this vehicle. And I've just had it for 3 years. I don't know. But yeah, you know, I don't know what to tell you when it comes to having traumatic events play out in your nightmares over and over and over again. I wish I had some PSA or some Lewis Rossman, you know, I hope you learned something. I wish that I had some sort of insight to give you. The only thing I can do is just kind of let you know what's happening in my head, and you know, perhaps you might relate on some level. I don't know. You know, they say this is men's mental health awareness month, which makes the nightmares so much worse. It makes the nightmare so much worse. In the powerlessness of it too, like that's the worst part. It's kind of, I've heard people talk about this, the nightmares of being chased, and you're trying to run but you can't. You're always stuck in molasses. The muscles in your legs just don't, you're just moving slow motion, and you're being chased in your dreams, and there's a helplessness that makes up the trauma of the nightmare. This comes very close to that in principle. That kind of helplessness, like, it's almost like you're watching your own murder occur, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Or you see people that love someone so much in films, right? And they try everything they can, even trying to go back in time to save that person that they love. And what there was one, oh, that was the Doctor Strange, right? In Doctor Strange, he kept trying to save this woman. He just kept going back over and over and over and over again, and he kept trying to save this woman that was important to him, and he failed every time because there was like no way to stop whatever it was. And he ran down his own life force trying to stop the inevitable. And that's what my nightmares are like. Trying to stop the inevitable, begging and pleading, trying to find the magic word, the magic elixir that will just change everything back to the way they were. In almost all of my nightmares of this kind, I am forced to let go. And I think that the brokenheartedness of being forced to let go in these nightmares forces me to wake up. That's not restful sleep. That is not the type of sleep that you... It's not the type of sleep that you get up from and then you go and you try to go destroy a new personal best in a squat or a deadlift. But I made it somehow. I don't know how I made it today. And I feel like even in my waking hours, I am forced to confront my trauma. And it's super uncomfortable. I've already been, really confused about how to go on living without my father. He's been gone. As a matter of fact, it's about a week. It's about a week from when he was supposed to turn 65. It's been a year and a quarter, or a year and a third, since he took his last breath. And I still don't know how to deal with even good things happening to me. I don't even know how to be happy with experiencing the best era of my life. I don't even know how to deal with that. And then I get to thinking, like, how can I be happy when the people around me are suffering? And is it worth it to then be miserable when that misery doesn't help anything or anyone? And I go through these mental cycles on a regular basis, but, you know, it actually feels a lot worse now. JL, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. Suggestionless says, I have vertigo. I have nightmares from falling down to the earth for the most bizarre reasons. Yep. I do get a bit of vertigo too, but I don't get those kind of dreams. You know, the dreams that I think are in that ilk would be, you know, being chased by either the military or being, you know, chased by some, you know, clandestine spy service, or, you know, the government or aliens. I've had that happen. I had a recurring nightmare, you know, being chased underneath the 6 train, the elevated 6 train in the Bronx, and doing everything that I could to outrun or to hide from, you know, whatever was after me. Same dream, you know, different antagonists. I've had those dreams. Oh yeah. And I'm still trying to figure out how I did it today. How did I do that? 40 reps of deadlift at 335. How the fuck did I get the bar off the ground the way I did? How did that happen today? How did the squats feel so easy today? How did the leg extensions feel so good today under the circumstances? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Stationalist. The survival instinct nightmares. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. But the type of nightmares that have bewitched me in the last couple of weeks. Why is it that the nightmares can be remembered so vividly in your waking hours, but the good dreams, they're gone? Absolutely gone. Poof. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm not sure that it is meant to be understood. But I figured that I would share with you what I'm going through, because there's really not too many people that I can actually talk to anyone about really at all. There's really nothing that I can do. What to do when someone close to you is living your worst nightmares. What to do? No clue. And I guess that in some ways the correct answer is nothing. And that creates its own emotional reaction, its own pain stimuli. Pain stimulus? Wow, you're such a cool guy. These These cab drivers are just some of the worst human beings. They just are. Some of these cab drivers are just, they're just flat out just like bad people. They're just not good people. Maybe they're good people where you live, but not in New York City. Traditionalist says, I say talk to them, but I feel like that's not an option in your case. It is absolutely not an option in my case. It is absolutely not an option in my case. Though I think that it would or could help you both, I very much doubt that as well. Although, you know, anything's possible. But I seriously doubt it. And this is something that I've thought very long and hard on. Mainly because I wanted to avoid breaking anybody's confidences if they should end up seeing this in some way. But yeah, I was able to do the thing today, and I'm very proud of myself. But those thoughts still haunt me. They still haunt me. They still make me feel like garbage. And I feel a pain that feels like it is on behalf of the other person, you know. I feel a pain that's on behalf of that other person. Like I feel like I'm in a state of mourning. And, you know, there's really nothing that I can do or say. Like, really nothing. So, again, this is life, y'all. There's so much that we think that we can control, but we're just not in control of it. And we need to be okay with the, I guess that's maybe the moral of the story. The moral of the story is that you need to kind of relinquish control of the things that you believe you have some kind of control over. It's you just, there's just some things in this world you can't control. Yeah, like stupid ass cab drivers in New York City. You can't control what they do. The only thing you can do is try to insulate yourself from the consequences of their behavior. And that's a huge challenge. I'm talking about New York City cab drivers. I don't know about other areas of the country and in the world. I've actually seen some pretty decent cab drivers in other places. Yes, asshole. Yep. See? I let the assholes be assholes. Just let them do their thing. And try not to let them affect me too much. And that's all I can do. Be patient and let people do what they're gonna do. This guy's lucky to get this parking spot. If I was eating at Shake Shack, I'd be happy to get this parking spot. But I'm gonna go home and eat the food that's being made at home and be grateful for it. I actually wore this this shirt today because I was feeling so bad, but then I was like, I'm gonna wear this shirt and give the maximum effort. And I'm happy with myself that I was able to give that maximum effort. Very happy with myself and what I was able to accomplish today. But man, psychologically, I don't really feel like I'm in the best state. Yeah, I like this shirt, Dad. I do like this shirt a lot. I know that this wasn't the happiest stream ever, but I really needed to get that off my chest. And I think it helped me to at least put it into uttered word. And I guess that's really the main benefit of this live stream. I mean, almost nobody will have watched it, so it's not like I'm going to get any YouTube money from it. In fact, I will get exactly $0.00. But, you know, it is nice to have the people who have supported this platform, you know, come by and at least allow me to express myself, where I don't feel like I'm, you know, totally spitting into the void. Next week, I am going to try to deadlift 365 for reps. And I am very excited about the prospect of successfully completing that. I might go to sets of 8 at 255 on the squat. I think I might do that. It all depends on how well I recover from today's training. You know, I could wake up from tomorrow and not be able to move at all, and then I have to take a deload. You know, I could start feeling something, you know, funny in my left knee. I have to take a deload. But if none of those things happen, I'm gonna go for what I'm supposed to go for on Thursday. I think I'm starting on the leg press and then ending on the hack squat on Wednesday. Mrs. Evil is here. I think Mrs. Evil is going to be on her way home. Mental peace and proper sleep are important for the body. Absolutely, you know. And I hope that the nightmares don't ruin that for me tonight. You know, I'm hoping that talking to you guys and, you know, putting what I'm going through psychologically, just putting it out there, that it'll help me in some way. I don't know if it will. I hope it will. But, you know, the pain is very real. And it really sucks. It sucks to watch somebody else go through my worst enemy, my worst nightmares. You know? And, you know, I've heard other people say commonly, oh, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Yeah. Yes, I do. Yes, I would. If somebody good has to go through it, why shouldn't your worst enemy have to go through it? What? The street is stripped down. And I can drive the street, but the street is still messed up. But yeah, I'm gonna eat breakfast very late in the day, try to get a protein shake in, have a lunch not long after the breakfast, have dinner not long after the lunch, and just try to get back to feeling like a human being again. That is my assignment. I'm planning to do vertical pull tomorrow. I planned to do it yesterday. I planned to do it today. Well, I'm planning to do it tomorrow. Maybe it'll get done. If the vertical pull gets done tomorrow, I'm going to go for the bench press again and hope that I can achieve what I want to achieve on the bench press. Probably not going to happen. Probably not going to happen. But it's not going to stop me from trying. So I do want to say to you guys, I do appreciate you. Again, I don't really know how I am going to deal with these nightmares, but I'm going to try something. Maybe I'll try something that I hadn't really tried in the past. I don't know. I'll see. But apparently I'm a little bit stronger than I thought I was. And I guess that's worth something. So yes, today I overcame my nightmares to achieve my dreams. Next week I have more dreams that I'm going to look to achieve. And hope that you will be able to experience, your dreams. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I do appreciate all of you. And I hope that you guys will enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Citizen says, good luck with the BMW invoice. Must be a nightmare. Having affordable German engineering is an unobtainable dream. That's funny. That is funny. That is funny. That is funny. You guys have a great rest of your day. And I guess I will see you next time.